Welcome to Full-Time Hustler Podcast. I'm your host, Jason Feimster. Today, we're tackling one of the most toxic myths in modern entrepreneurship, the belief that working harder, longer, and faster is the only way to succeed. If you're burning the midnight oil and still feeling like you're spinning your wheels, this episode is for you. Here's the truth. Hustle culture might get you to the starting line, but it won't get you to the finish line. We're diving deep into why this mindset is broken, what the science says about burnout, and how you can achieve more by doing less. So grab a coffee, buckle up, and let's deconstruct this hustle harder myth once and for all. Let's start with a little history. Where did hustle culture come from? The idea of hustle harder has roots in the Industrial Revolution, where success was measured by how many hours you could work. Fast forward to the 21st century, and we've glorified this grind mentality through motivational Instagram quotes, billionaire biographies, and toxic LinkedIn posts. You know the ones: rise and grind, no days off, and my personal favorite, sleep is for the weak. But let's pause and ask, is this sustainable? Statistics say no. According to the World Health Organization, long working hours are responsible for 745,000 deaths annually. Let that sink in. Hustling yourself to death is not a badge of honor, it's a tragedy. Here's the kicker. Studies also show that after a certain point, working more hours doesn't increase productivity. In fact, it decreases it. So, why do we still worship at the altar of hustle culture? It's time to wake up and rethink what it really means to be successful. Let's get something straight. Being busy is not the same as being productive. In fact, busyness can often be a disguise for inefficiency. Productivity is about achieving meaningful outcomes with the least amount of effort, while busyness is simply about doing a lot regardless of the results. Here's an example. Have you ever spent hours organizing your email inbox or tweaking your website design, only to realize you haven't made a single sale or moved closer to your goals? That's fake hustle. It feels productive, but it's just a distraction from what truly matters. Research from the Harvard Business Review reveals that people often overestimate the importance of busy work. Prioritizing tasks that give them a sense of accomplishment don't actually contribute to long term success. Entrepreneurs who focus on impact driven tasks, like building relationships or strategizing for growth, tend to see far greater results. Take, for instance, Tim Ferriss, author of The 4 Hour Workweek. He famously advocates for cutting out low value tasks to focus on the few activities that generate the highest returns. It's not about how much you do, it's about what you do that counts. Now, let's talk about burnout, a word that's become as overused as hustle itself. Burnout isn't just about feeling tired. It's a state of chronic stress that can lead to serious physical and mental health problems. According to a study published in the Journal of World Psychiatry, burnout is associated with increased risk of cardiovascular disease, depression, and even substance abuse. Think about this. When you're burnt out, your decision making skills plummet, your creativity dries up, and your ability to handle stress evaporates. It's the ultimate productivity killer. So while you might think you're pushing through to meet a deadline or hit a milestone, what you're actually doing is digging yourself into a hole that's harder to climb out of. Here's a sobering fact. Gallup reports that 76% of employees experience burnout at least sometimes, and 28% feel it often. That's not just an individual problem, it's a systemic issue that's costing companies billions in lost productivity and turnover. Well, let's bring it back to you, the entrepreneur, the hustler, the gig worker grinding for a better future. Recognizing the warning signs of burnout can be a game changer. Are you feeling constantly exhausted, detached from your work, or unable to celebrate your wins? If so, it's time to hit pause and reevaluate. Recovery isn't just an option, it's a necessity. If hustling harder isn't the answer, then what is? Let's talk about alternative approaches to success that don't involve sacrificing your health or sanity. First up, the 80-20 rule, also known as the Pareto rule. This idea suggests that 80% of your results come from 20% of your efforts. Think about it. What are the handful of activities that truly move the needle in your business? Instead of spreading yourself thin across a million tasks, focus your energy on the few things that deliver the most impact. This just isn't theory. It's backed by countless case studies of successful entrepreneurs who prioritized effectively. Next, let's discuss delegation. You can't do it all, and frankly, you shouldn't. Whether it's hiring a virtual assistant, outsourcing your marketing, or automating repetitive tasks, learning to delegate is key to scaling without burning out. Remember, working smarter means leveraging other people's time and expertise. And finally, let's talk about rest as a strategy. Yes, you heard that right. Rest isn't a luxury, it's a performance tool. Studies from Harvard Business Review show that employees who take regular breaks are more productive and creative. The same applies to entrepreneurs. So, whether it's a 15-minute walk, a weekend getaway, or a full on sabbatical, don't underestimate the power of unplugging to recharge. Now that we've unpacked the myths and explored alternative strategies, let's dive into actionable tips you can implement today to build a more sustainable path to success. 1. Time management hacks. Time is your most valuable resource, so treat it like gold. Start by identifying your high value activities, those tasks that generate the most results. Use techniques like time blocking to allocate focused periods for these activities and stick to them religiously. Tools like to-do list or Trello can help you prioritize your task effectively. 2. Building healthy habits. Consistency beats intensity every time. Establish morning and evening routines that set the tone for your day and help you wind down at night. Whether it's a 10-minute meditation or a quick workout or journaling your goals, small daily habits compound into big wins over time. Also, learn to say no. It's it's a complete sentence and a powerful boundary setting tool. 3. Leverage technology to streamline. Use automation tools to eliminate repetitive tasks. Apps like Zapier, Slack, or Asana can help you save hours by streamlining your workflows. For personal finances, tools like QuickBooks or Mint can simplify tracking expenses and managing budgets. 4. Schedule downtime. It might sound counterintuitive, but scheduling your breaks is important as scheduling your work. Whether it's a lunch hour away from screens or a weekend adventure, downtime is critical for recharging your mental and physical energy. 5. Measure progress, not perfection. Focus on incremental improvements rather than unrealistic ideals. Set measurable goals and track your progress weekly. Celebrate small wins. They're the stepping stones to big achievements. Remember, these tips aren't just about working smarter, they're about living smarter. Success isn't about how much you can do, it's about doing the right things at the right time and preserving your energy for what truly matters. All right, hustlers, let's recap what we've covered today. We've debunked the myth that working harder is the ultimate key to success, explored the dangers of burnout, and uncovered alternative strategies like the 80-20 rule, delegation, and rest. We also dove into actionable tips to help you build a sustainable path to success without sacrificing your well being. Here's the bottom line: success isn't about how much you can cram into a 24-hour day, it's about working smarter, not harder, and making intentional choices that align with your goals and values. The hustle harder mentality might sound inspiring, but in reality, it's a fast track to burnout and dissatisfaction. And if this episode resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Share your biggest takeaway by tagging me on social media or leaving a comment on our podcast page. Don't forget to subscribe to the Full Time Hustler podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you tune in. And hey, if you know someone who needs to hear this, share this episode with them. It might just change their life. Until next time, keep hustling smarter, not harder. Stay focused, stay intentional, and remember, you've got this.